Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Sukhi Learn. I am Subjinder Singh, but you can call me Sukhi, and I'm here to discuss the solution for the board games challenge number 3. Now before I start with the solution, I would like to thank Automation Anywhere once again, and specifically Lara and Micah for recognizing my effort last week uh, in your weekly wrap-up video. Thank you very much, and I highly appreciate that recognition. Now, before I start with the solution, again, we will just discuss a brief about what exactly the scenario is and what exactly the requirement is. The scenario is that there is a company called Eagle One Financial. This company is having customers with their card details stored in their database, and certain set of customers have lost their card or it has been stolen. Not only that, it is now on dark web and it is available. It is on sale, so people can buy and use it. Now, what we have to do, the dark web website is called as Ryan's Club, and our job is to go ahead on that website and find out which are the cards which are related to this company customers, and wherever it matches the database of this company, I have to go ahead and pick up that particular record or the card details and collate it in one file. After collating it in one file, I have to come here, I have to then upload the file. And that's the job. That's what we need to do in order to achieve this task. Now, there are different things involved in this particular use case. First thing, the different thing that has come up so far in the board games challenge is that there's a database involved. It's a SQLite Studio database, which is involved over here. And it says that there are two tables in that database. One is called the customer details, and the other one is called the card details. Now, for those who are new to the concept of databases, let me just try and explain in a nutshell what does it mean? What does this thing means? So basically, a database is nothing but a collection of entities. Now, each table is also called as entity, the kind of existence. So there's one existence which is called as customer details, and there's another existence which is called as card details. Now, these two are linked to each other. How? Let me take an example here. Now, say I have a folder. So database is like a folder. Say customer data is a folder. Inside that, I have two Excel sheets. Say one is called the card details, the other one is called customer details. So ideally, in a real life scenario, you will always have a master table which will store some basic information related to your customers, which is very specific to your customers, like personal details, so on and so forth. So if I just open this particular Excel file, so ideally this Excel file is a customer's master sheet in this case. Now, if this was a database, this would have been called as a table. And just like the Excel sheet, the table structure is formed. That means there are columns and there are rows. Each column has an identifier with a name attached to it, and the row is having the actual data. That's how the table is formed in the database, just like an Excel sheet. Now, in this, I can see the unique identifier in this particular table is customer ID. Every customer will have a unique customer ID, and there are some personal information related to the customer, where they live, what is the first name, last name, and email stored in this particular Excel sheet. So ideally, if I come back to this screen and if you look at the customer details table over here, so this is what the customer details table will store, this kind of information, some basic customer related information, and it is a kind of a customer master like you normally have in your Excel sheets. What is the second one? Second one is called card details. As the name suggests, this Excel sheet is having 7 columns. Each column has an identifier by the name, which is over there, and it has a record. So basically, these records are related to the card, and this part is related to the card. But to which customer does it belong? That is identified by the customer ID. Now, In a real life or a basic Excel life, what will you do if you have to get the customer details over here in this Excel sheet? Say, I want this data, this set of data with the customer last name, let's say the first name, anything here, say first name. What will you do? You will generally do a lookup. So you say we look up customer ID, customer details. Second column is first name. Let's say this. And I will copy this. I will go here and that's about it. So I got this information. Now let's confirm that 5965147. It's pretty good. See, that's how it is. It's fetching the records. So I what I've done here is I am trying to fetch this information based on the unique identifier, which is ID. Now, this is the concept which we will now apply in terms of database. So in database, there is a database, there is no folder, there's a database called customer data. Inside the customer data database, there are two tables. One is customers detail, which is basic customer master, and there is card details, which is basic card details. Now we have to perform this kind of a lookup in SQL. And when you do such a thing in SQL, so basically what I'm doing is I'm joining the two data sets, isn't it? I'm joining. So this is the data set from the card details. These are the fields from customer details. I'm joining the two together on the basis of one unique identifier, which is customer ID. And this is exactly what we need to implement in the database. And that's the next thing which I will show it to you in a moment. All right, so uh, let's get on to the steps which are involved. The first step is to get the database, the base data of the customer, which has the required details. And accordingly, you have to go and do the mapping of the data available on Ryan's Club website and in your database. Now, just to show you an example of Ryan's Club database, so these are the fields which are available on Ryan's Club web page, and you have 10 pages over here. Again, in this situation, the pages are fixed. What if the pages are not fixed? What if you don't know how many pages are there that you have to navigate? We'll discuss that a bit later. But for now, these are the fields that are available on this web page. So what I have to do is I have to do simply just a combination of all these fields. I'll compare it in my base data. And if I find it, I will push that record to the cancellation CSV and upload it once I'm done with all the records. However, as you saw this table structure, not all the information is available in one table. The card information is here and the customer information is here. So we have to marry that. But before we get to that thing, uh, every just like every language that we speak, we have to follow certain rules. Only then we can speak that language. Similarly, every programming language has certain set of rules that you need to follow in order to achieve the task. Similarly, in SQL, if I want to interact with the database, I will have to follow certain set of rules in order to achieve that. So I'll give you just one small example of how you can fetch data from a given table. Obviously, the first thing you will do is you will connect to the database. Just like if I want to access any file inside a folder, you will have to first open the folder. Only then you can go inside and access data from a given file. Similarly, if I want to access data from a table, first I will have to connect to the database. So the first thing is you'll connect. And for reading, you'll be using a select statement. Okay, so this is where the syntax and the rules comes into picture. Now, forget this one for a moment. If I want to fetch all the records from the customer details table, So all the records is a group of a set of records, all the records. So basic concept of wildcard comes into picture. Select star. Select is a keyword. Star represents all the records from the table name. In our case, the table name is customer, correct? And automation anywhere very nicely and very easily for us gives the option to directly write it to a CSV file. So I'll write it to a CSV file called customer details.csv. Okay. Now say I just want to run till here, so stop here. Let's start from customer details.csv. Just run this. So it will fetch all the records which are there in customer details. Let's see. Okay. So go to that location. Where is it? Chance 3, PB file. So it created a CSV file just now, as you can see, 2056, 2056. I will open that and see what is there inside it. So here we have. So we have all the fields which are there in the customer details table, and I get all the records. So this is how the select query works. But what if I just want the customer's first name and last name, or I want only these three fields? What do I need to do? Well, you just need to mention the field names over there. Customer ID, first name, last name, save it. Now we'll close this file and I'll run my bot. So it will only pick up the fields which I mentioned over here. Just now it saved it. Okay. There you go. Now this is how the select query works. Now if you are working with multiple tables, in that scenario, you whichever fields you want from say table A and table B. In this scenario, I want certain fields coming from the card details table. I want certain fields to be coming from the customer details table. So whichever field names I want from the card details table, I will mention it with the syntax table name dot field name. So card details dot CVV, for example, card details dot brand. This is how I will mention it in my query. Similarly, I want the first name, last name, city, zip code from the customer details table. So I will mention customer details dot first name, customer details dot last name. So I will use this rule of entering information, or rather writing a select query. And from, I want all the details from the card details. So I will say from card details, and then I will join the table name customer details on the ID. So card details dot ID and customer details dot customer ID. So that's how the join query is written. Now this is a very basic explanation. Obviously, I cannot explain in detail right now. I would recommend refer to some tutorials online, and you will get a lot of understanding of this. However, let me just show you the query that I have written. So I will just remove this, remove this. Now this is a query. Let us quickly look at it. And let me see a SQL editor online if there is any. See this. All right. So it will just look a little organized here. So As you can see, I'm fetching all the details from the card details table. So I'm labeling it with the card details over there, and whatever I'm fetching from the customer details, I'm labeling it with the customer details table name over here. And then I'm saying from card details, and then I'm joining the two table. I'm connecting the two table on card details.id and card. Right. So I had some technical difficulty there. The video just uh, was frozen on that last part. So what I was trying to say was this particular piece. So you saw the entire query there, and in the end, we are doing a join on card details.id with customer details.customer ID. So that's the join part of it. That's the query. So once you run that, it will save the required base data in a CSV called base tb.csv. That's the first step that we go ahead and do with the database. Now, what is the second step? I have to go to the Ryan's Club website, and then I have to go ahead and fetch all the records. So what I'm doing here is, obviously the first thing is open the browser and log in. So the basic browser open command, where I'm giving the landing page URL over here. Once the landing page is there, I'm going ahead and entering the email ID and the password. So if you look at this, I have to first click on this, like Micah Smith, Mr. Smith strongly emphasized on. You have to click on this. So that's what the bot is doing here. It clicks on that button, and then username and password. I've stored this in variables, and I'm using that over here. And once I move on to this page, the view button which comes over there, it clicks on that. The view link which comes over there, it clicks on that. Now, once I'm done with that, I will get data from the dark web pages. So I've given that name as dark web pages. So I'll get data from here. I have to take out. So what logic I'm applying here is basically I will take data page by page and keep storing it in a CSV file. Now, once I'm done with that, now I have the base file as base tbcsv, and I have the Ryan dump file. So there are two files available. And for every record in Ryan CSV, I will search the record in my base CSV. The moment I find it, I will insert all the required fields into the cancellation CSV. So that is how the cycle works. So this step is basically I'm opening both the files here. This is next step I moved on to. Sorry, get data from dark web pages. So here I'm capturing the table. So I'm capturing this table. Let me just show you this part. So I'm capturing this table and storing it in a table variable here. And then I'm writing all that data to a Ryan CSV file. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm also having a page counter here. And we know that there are only 10 pages. So till that time, this is this counter logic which is there basically. Till this is less than number of pages. Now, I'm also having this thing over here. If it is page number is equal to 2, uh, where do I have to click? As I mentioned, so the first time it will come capture, it will not get in here, it will not get in here, it will simply increase the page counters. The page counter will move from 1 to 2, and then I'm opening the Ryan CSV file, and for each row in the Ryan CSV file. So Ryan CSV file currently has what? This table. So the 50 records. So 50 records are there in that particular CSV file. What I'm doing here is I'm putting those records into my final dump file, which I'm calling as Ryan dump CSV. Right. So I'm writing the data to a CSV file. So the first page data is written. And now I'm closing the text file. Let me go up. I guess this will be better. Yeah. Right. So it comes back here. The page counter is now 2. So when it is 2, what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to go on to the next page. I'll click here. This is the link which I need to click. I go onto the second page. After going on to the second page, I'm again capturing the table, storing it. So I'm clicking this, waiting for 50 milliseconds in case it takes time to refresh. Little bit time, give it there. Again, the same steps are repeated. I will capture this and store it in Ryan TV, and then write it to Ryan CSV file. So once this is done, it will come out of here. It will go here, increase the page counter. Now the page counter becomes 3, and then it will open the CSV file and append the data. So now I have 2 pages data in my Ryan dump CSV. Now the counter is 3 when it comes over here. So it will come here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the identifier for this will change once this entire thing changes. Hence, now it is 3, so I've done a separate capture for this. So then it will click here, go on to the third page and capture this data. Again, the same steps will be followed. It will go on to third page, it will store it in a table variable. From the table variable, it will then put it into Ryan.csv, which is having 50 records. Now, these 50 records will be added to the first set of 100 records over here, and this will go on till the last page. So by the time this loop is over, I will have Ryan dump.csv file created, which will have all the 500 records stored in that. Now, once I'm done with the 2 data sets ready now, so I'm ready with both the data sets. I'm ready with the Ryan Club website database or data stored in ryan.csv, and I've got my base data, customer data in base tv.csv. So I have both the databases. Now I have to look for records in the Ryan CSV file, find that in my base TV CSV file. If I find it, then push it to the cancellation.csv. So first I'm opening both the files here, my base data and Ryan dump. And then I start searching for the stolen card. Now, this is for every row in Ryan CSV. I will search records in my base CSV. So again, you have to work towards getting the first 6 digits of the card number, because here you only have the first 6 digits. So I will take the first 6 digits of the card number, and all the other values will be the way it is. Uh, and I will do a combination of all. So if all the values, all these values, a combination of all these values is available in my base TV, then I will go ahead and push that record into my cancellation CSV. That's exactly what we're doing here. And similarly, in your base TV, which is your base data, you will have to fetch the first 6 digits of the card number. And after that, you do uh, the comparison. So these are all the if conditions which are required, so matching each and every field with each other, card number with card number. The card number is the only field which I'm fetching the digits and saving it in the variable. Otherwise, everything else I'm doing a comparison on the basis of the record variable. Uh, that's the thing. And once it matches, I'm pushing all the required data into the cancellations template or CSV and breaking the loop. Once I find it, I stop it, and then I go into the second record in the Ryan's dump CSV and then find that in my base table CSV. Once I find it, I break, then I move to the third one. If I don't find it, I go to the fourth one, and so on and so forth. It does that loop so many times. So once I'm done with this, I'm ready with the cancellation CSV file. I will obviously close the files, the CSV file which I open, and then finally I will upload the cancellation CSV file on the required link. And here I'm using the simulate keyboard, simulate keystrokes. Sorry, simulate keystrokes here, and that's it. That's about it. So once you upload it, it goes ahead and does the job. So let's run this bot once and see how it works. In a moment, just a moment. All right. So now let's run this bot and let's see how it works. Okay. So it works fine, as you can see. So that's the thing. All right, now let's come to the last part of the video where I was talking about what if I don't know how many pages are there. Now, this is the landing page. Once I click the view link over there and I get this, the first page is having the total number of records and how many it is showing right now. So I know it is showing 50. So if I'm consistently loading this page, landing, or this page is landing with this particular information, what I do is I will take this as a text and I will say put it in a variable. Then I'll split it. So this part will go in one particular element, and this one will go into another element. Then I will further divide these two. This will go in one element, and this one will go in another element. Now I'll take this and I will put this, remove the spaces, put this in an integer variable, and I put this in a different element. From here, I will take this and then remove the spaces and put it in another variable. Once I get these two, this is total number of records, and this is records per pages. Once I get this, I will do a simple division. I get total number of pages. Now, if doesn't matter then now if there are 5,000 records or whatever number of records, by following this process, I'll get the accurate number of pages. Now, this is exactly what I've done over here. As you can see, I'm capturing first and then performing all the split actions, and then finally dividing the total number of records divided by the records per page. In that case, I will get total pages which are there, and I'm using the total pages variable over here, which is going to be used in the loop. So if this is correct, the entire code, I will run it again and it should work fine. So let's see if it runs. Fine. So let me just close the unwanted screens over here. And, fine. So let me run this. All right. So as you can see, it works absolutely fine. Uh, Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, and as they say in Automation Anywhere, go be great. Thank you very much for watching. Good night, everyone.